Hello and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever tried migrating a working Cisco 2911 cube over to one of the newer Cisco 8300 cubes? I just went through it and let me tell you, a lot has changed. From deprecated commands to smart licensing headaches, it wasn't as simple as copy and paste. In this video, I'll walk you through what I encountered, what tripped me up, and what you should look out for if you're planning migrations like this. So here's the situation. I had an existing Cisco 2911 cube running iOS Classic, solid and stable, but it was hitting end of life. The replacement was a Cisco 8300 series running iOS XE. At first glance, it seemed like it would be a straightforward migration. Just grab the running config from the 2911 and drop it onto the 8300, and we're good to go, right? Not quite. This was the first big difference I noticed. A lot of the CLI we used on the 2900 series is either deprecated or restructured on the 8300. For example, voice class codec and dial peer commands look different in XE, with certain options missing. Some older H323 and MGCP configs aren't even supported anymore. You're expected to move to SIP in most cases. The way you configure SIP bind commands, security, and TLS has been modernized, but it also means you need to relearn some syntax. So if you're relying on muscle memory or an old config template, you're going to run into some errors. Next up, licensing. The old 2911 didn't require much beyond the right packs and feature licenses. The 8300 is a whole different story because it uses Cisco Smart Licensing. That means you can't just enter a license key and move on. You need to register your device to a smart account, and if you don't, you run into functionality being limited or nagging license status messages. This added a whole new step to the migration process. When I first tried to paste in parts of the old running config, I got hit with tons of syntax errors. Some commands just flat out don't exist anymore. Others had to be replaced with new equivalents. Direct configuration transfers typically result in multiple syntax errors due to command structure changes and deprecated features. iOS XE parser will reject many commands from iOS Classic with the dreaded invalid input detected at caret marker error. Some capabilities may no longer exist or have been replaced with entirely different implementation approaches. Engineers must methodically translate configurations feature by feature rather than line by line, understanding the intent of each configuration block. Some of the features may no longer be needed and should be looked at carefully. One example is that the traditional telephony service command structure was fundamental to SRST configurations on iOS classic platforms. Whereas in the 8300, CUCM SRST mode replaces many telephony service features requiring significantly different syntax approach. Many parameters have been moved to a different configuration section, and pasting in old configs will likely fail to load completely. What I learned is that a cube migration is fundamentally about technology shifts rather than simple configuration changes. iOS XE represents a completely different architectural approach. The old commands do not equal the new commands. Even when syntax appears similar, the underlying behavior and implementation can differ significantly. Smart licensing adds multiple extra steps to deployment and ongoing management requiring advanced preparation. Every single call flow must be rigorously tested after migration, as subtle changes in behavior may not immediately become apparent. If you're planning to migrate a cube from a 2900 to an 8300, here are some of my tips. Rebuild carefully. Don't copy and paste configurations. Instead, rebuild them methodically, understanding the intent behind each section. Verify feature support. Use Cisco Feature Navigator to confirm support for each capability before attempting migration. Smart account preparation. Set up and test your smart account early in the process to avoid licensing complications during deployment. If possible, create a test environment with configurations matching your production environment to identify issues before go live. The most successful migrations are those that prioritize preparation over speed. Take the time to understand the platform differences thoroughly. So that was my experience migrating from a Cisco 2911 to an 8300 cube. Honestly, it was more work than I expected, but I also learned a lot in the process. If you've done a migration like this, I'd love to hear about your experience and drop a comment below. And if this helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other unified communication videos for more deep dives.